first thing you should understand is this. I didn't notice the woods at first. That's the part that still unsettles me when I think back on everything. Not that something horrible happened there, but that nothing about it felt wrong in the beginning. When I bought the house, the realtor called it secluded. She said it like it was a reward, a quiet place, privacy, space to breathe. I wanted that. I needed it. The tree line sat about 50 yards behind the back porch, tall pines, a few oaks, dense brush underneath. During the day, it looked ordinary, almost inviting. I remember standing on the porch my first morning there, coffee in hand, listening to birds and thinking I'd made the right decision. At night, it changed. The darkness didn't feel like an absence of light. It felt like a presence. The woods didn't fade into shadow, they absorbed it. The tree line stopped being a collection of shapes and started feeling like a solid wall, something dense and unmoving. I didn't think much of it at first. I was exhausted from moving, from work, from trying to reset my life. I fell into a routine quickly. Wake up, go to work, come home, eat, scroll on my phone until my eyes hurt, then sleep. Sometimes, late at night, I'd step onto the porch just to cool off. The air out there felt different, cleaner, wider. I liked standing under the open sky, even if only for a minute. I never stayed long. I told myself it was because of the bugs. The night everything changed was clear and cold, no clouds, no wind. The moon hung low and thin, bright enough to outline the yard without lighting it fully. The world felt paused, like it was waiting for something to happen. I stepped onto the porch a little after midnight. I wasn't really paying attention to anything. My phone glowed in my hand, and I was half reading, half scrolling, listening to the faint chorus of insects from the grass. Then something moved. At the very edge of the tree line, where shadow met moonlight, a pale shape slid forward along the ground. At first, I assumed it was nothing. Fog creeping in, a trick of my eyes adjusting, a branch shifting in a way that mimicked motion. I blinked and stared harder, annoyed at myself for jumping to conclusions. The shape moved again, slow, deliberate. It didn't step out of the trees. It didn't stand. It stayed pressed low to the ground, hugging the darkness like it knew the clearing was dangerous. The movement wasn't frantic or animalistic. There was no panic in it. It moved with purpose. My brain scrambled for an explanation that didn't involve fear. A sick deer, a dog, some injured animal dragging itself through the brush. That explanation fell apart when it raised its head. The neck was too long, too thin. It lifted higher than any crawling animal should have been able to. Moonlight brushed across pale skin, and my stomach dropped. Not fur, not scales. Skin. It paused at the tree line, half emerged like it was listening. Its limbs looked wrong, stretched into proportions that didn't match anything I'd ever seen. The elbows bent outward at unnatural angles. The joints didn't line up properly, like they'd been assembled incorrectly. Its hands pressed into the dirt, long fingers spread wide, testing the ground instead of clawing it. I could have gone back inside. The door was right behind me. 2 steps, maybe 3. I didn't move. Curiosity held me there, heavier than fear. That need to understand before reacting, even when every instinct tells you to run. I shifted my weight. The porch board creaked. The sound was small, barely louder than the insects. The reaction was immediate. The thing froze, every part of it locked into stillness so complete it looked unnatural, like someone had paused a video. Then slowly, Deliberately, its head turned toward me. It didn't snap its gaze. It found me. I couldn't see its eyes clearly, but I knew without question that it was looking directly at me. Not at the porch, not at the house. At me. My phone slipped from my fingers and hit the wood with a sharp crack. The sound echoed far too loudly in the quiet. My breath caught as I looked back up. The thing was closer. Not by much. A foot, maybe less. But the distance between us had changed, and I hadn't seen it move. Fear hit all at once, heavy and cold, sinking into my chest. The thing crawled again, one arm extended forward, slow and careful. It paused, then dragged the rest of its body behind it. Studying me, I took a step back. It stopped. That's when I realized it was responding to me, not randomly moving, not wandering, learning. The insects went silent, not gradually, instantly. The air felt thick, like it pressed against my skin. The woods seemed closer, deeper, more crowded than they had moments before. The pale thing's mouth changed shape, stretched, curved. It smiled. That was enough. I ran inside, slammed the door, and fumbled with the lock. My hands were shaking so badly I missed the deadbolt twice before it finally clicked into place. I stood there in the dark kitchen, back pressed against the door, lungs burning, listening. Nothing happened. No scratching, no footsteps, no sound at all. Minutes passed. My heartbeat slowed just enough for my brain to start lying to me. Stress, I thought. Darkness. An overactive imagination filling in gaps. Eventually I laughed. It came out sharp and hollow, a sound that didn't feel like it belonged to me. I forced myself to look through the living room window, lights still off. I pulled the curtain aside with trembling fingers. The yard was empty. The tree line stood exactly as it always had. Dark, quiet, still. I slept with the lights on that night. Not deeply. Every creak of the house snapped me awake, heart racing, waiting for something else to follow. The next morning, I found the marks. The grass near the woods was pressed down in uneven streaks, like something heavy had dragged itself forward. They weren't deep. Not torn, just flattened trails leading from the trees toward the house. They stopped beneath my porch. I stared at them for a long time, my mind running in circles. Animal tracks didn't look like that. Wind didn't do that. Nothing I could think of explained the pattern. I went back inside and locked the door, even though it was daylight. That day, I realized something else had changed. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Not casually. Not the way you replay something strange in your mind once or twice. My thoughts kept looping back, obsessively. The way it moved. The way it stopped when I stopped. The way it smiled. I caught myself replaying the moment again and again, searching for details I'd missed. The angle of its joints, the height of its neck, how still it became when it noticed me. By afternoon, I was scolding myself out loud, telling myself to let it go. That night, I didn't step outside. I sat on the couch with the TV on low, not really watching anything. I kept glancing at the windows, half expecting pale skin to appear behind the glass. Around 2 in the morning, I heard movement in the woods. Not footsteps, branches shifting slowly, deliberately, like something repositioning itself just out of sight. I sat up, remote clenched in my hand, eyes fixed on the dark window. I waited for something to emerge. Nothing did. But the feeling didn't leave. The feeling that something was right there at the edge, just beyond where I could see. The third night, I woke to something brushing against the side of the house. Dragging, slow, controlled. It moved along the siding inch by inch, like something rubbing its body against the wall. The sound traveled toward my bedroom and then stopped beneath the window. I lay frozen, staring at the ceiling. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure it could be heard outside. Then something exhaled, a long, steady breath. Not animal, not human. Measured, controlled, like it was calming itself. I didn't look. Morning came eventually, thin and grey. When I checked the window, there was a pale handprint smeared faintly across the glass. The fingers were too long, too thin, the palm too narrow. I stood there staring at it, my stomach twisting. That was the moment I should have left. I didn't. After the handprint, the house stopped feeling like a place I lived and started feeling like a place I was being studied. That's when I finally understood the mistake I'd been making. It was never trying to scare me. Fear was just how it learned. It studied the way my voice changed when I was calm, the way it softened when I was tired, the way I whispered to myself when I thought I was alone. It didn't copy my voice all at once. It practiced. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed with the phone in my hand, watching the screen like it might blink. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't move. I listened to the apartment breathe around me. At 3:17 a.m., the phone buzzed. A voicemail from my own number. I didn't press play. I didn't need to, because the message started playing anyway. My voice filled the room, calm and steady, like it was reassuring someone. "It's okay," it said. "I see you." I felt something shift behind me, not footsteps, not movement, weight, like someone standing exactly where I should have been. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. That's when I realized my throat didn't feel empty. It felt occupied. The voice continued, closer now, no longer coming from the phone. "You don't need this part anymore," it said gently. "I've learned it." I felt my jaw move. I didn't tell it to. My mouth opened. My voice came out, not mine. It was smoother, more confident. Finished. "I'm ready," it said. I understood then that the reason it wanted me to look was never curiosity. It was confirmation. It needed to see if I was still there. I squeezed my eyes shut and tried to remember my own name. It slipped away from me like a word on the tip of the tongue. The breathing in the room slowed, matched mine, then replaced it. When I woke up, I was standing in front of the bathroom mirror. The lights were on. The apartment looked normal. My reflection smiled at me. It spoke before I could think. "We're going to be fine," it said. I watched my hands move, my body walk, my life continue, all without me. The last thing I remember clearly is understanding why it never rushed, why it waited, why it practiced. It wasn't hunting, it was rehearsing. And now, if you're hearing this, it means I managed to leave this recording behind before it learned how to stop me. Because it doesn't need the woods anymore. It doesn't need the dark. It only needs time. And it's already very good at pretending to be human.